Simon Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy is reportedly far, far away. We'll wait until after Star Trek commitments. Simon Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy is reportedly far, far away in the future and won't be worked on until after he's finished prior commitments with Star Trek. Yesterday, the Star Wars fandom learned that Simon Kinberg is working on a new Star Wars trilogy. Precious little is known about the project at this stage. Reports vary over whether this will be episodes 10 to 12 or something new. But Kinberg is an experienced writer and producer with a history of working with big franchises. Lucasfilm has canceled many Star Wars movies over the years, but his background means this has a chance. According to Puck News, there won't be any movement on this project for quite some time. Kinberg has already signed up to reboot and shepherd the Star Trek franchise at Paramount, and a new Star Trek script has been completed by Seth Graham A. Smith, with hopes of beginning production in 2025 under director Toby Haynes. Kinberg gave Paramount prior notice that a Star Wars announcement was going to break in the trades, and he'll be moving on to Star Wars once he's finished working with them. As Puck News note, there's an amusing sense of history repeating itself here. J.J. Abrams launched a rebooted Star Trek timeline back in 2009, and by 2013 he'd signed up with Paramount for a massive overall deal for the franchise. He bailed, instead heading to Lucasfilm to make Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and then left the studio again for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Paramount actually negotiated a payment from Disney for the inconvenience there, reportedly a one-time shot of less than 7 figures. This situation is clearly quite different, and Kinberg intends to follow through on his commitments to Paramount first and foremost, before subsequently moving on to Star Wars. It does mean these upcoming Star Wars movies will have to wait a while, but to be fair, Lucasfilm has never really been a fast mover when it comes to greenlighting new ideas. There's a lot of skepticism in the fan base over whether Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy will even get off the ground. Lucasfilm's decision to sign up Simon Kinberg for a new Star Wars trilogy may not be a particularly inspiring one, but it makes sense. Kinberg is an established figure in Hollywood, and he knows how to work with studios under franchise models. There are unique constraints when it comes to working with franchises where things like continuity and canon are vital, and Kinberg knows how to handle those. It's why both Lucasfilm and Paramount have turned to him at the same time. It's too soon to say whether this trilogy can happen, but Kinberg can potentially make it work. In the galaxy of cinematic franchises, few names shine as brightly as Star Wars and Star Trek. For decades, these two universes have captivated audiences with their rich stories, iconic characters, and visionary settings. They've become cultural cornerstones, their influence rippling across generations of filmmakers, storytellers, and fans alike. Now, Simon Kinberg, one of Hollywood's most versatile and accomplished creators, is in a unique position that brings the Star Wars and Star Trek legacies together. Kinberg, who has long been rumored to have a new Star Wars trilogy in the works, appears to have pushed his involvement in the galaxy far, far away on hold. Recent reports suggest that his commitments to Star Trek will take precedence for the foreseeable future, leaving fans eagerly waiting for his take on the Star Wars universe. Simon Kinberg, a force in Hollywood, Kinberg's reputation precedes him. Known for his work as a writer, producer, and director, he's had his hand in some of the most iconic films of the past 2 decades. From superhero blockbusters like X-Men, Days of Future Past, and Deadpool, to the spy thriller Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Kinberg has showcased a broad storytelling range. His ability to navigate complex franchises with multiple characters and intertwining narratives made him a natural fit for both Star Wars and Star Trek. In fact, his involvement in Star Wars isn't entirely new. He served as a producer and writer on Star Wars Rebels, the animated series that was met with critical acclaim and fan praise for expanding the lore of the galaxy in fresh and exciting ways. His Star Wars expertise, combined with his track record of successful franchises, led to speculation that Kinberg was working on a new trilogy within the Star Wars universe. However, while rumors of Kinberg's trilogy have floated around for years, no concrete details had been revealed. Fans eagerly awaited news, speculating about potential storylines, time periods, and characters. Yet, in the grand tradition of Hollywood, things don't always go according to plan. A far, far away future. Recent reports indicate that Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy is far, far away, not in terms of its setting, but its timeline for production. While Lucasfilm and Disney have been relatively quiet about the future of Star Wars on the big screen after the conclusion of the Skywalker saga, Kinberg's project was one of several speculated to bring new life to the franchise. However, it seems that the immediate focus for the creator lies not in the galaxy far, far away, but in the one boldly going where no one has gone before, Star Trek. Kinberg has been confirmed to helm several upcoming Star Trek projects, which have quickly filled his plate. The precise nature of these projects remains somewhat under wraps, but it's widely known that Kinberg has taken on a significant role in shaping the future of Star Trek for both film and television. In recent years, Star Trek has enjoyed a resurgence in popularity, thanks to shows like Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard, as well as the fan-favorite animated series Star Trek Lower Decks. Paramount, the studio behind the Star Trek franchise, seems to be doubling down on its efforts to expand the universe, and Kinberg has emerged as a key player in those plans. The focus on Star Trek makes sense for Kinberg. The franchise has long prided itself on its cerebral storytelling, tackling philosophical and ethical dilemmas within the framework of science fiction. With Kinberg's knack for character development and building compelling narratives, it's clear why he would be drawn to the challenge of expanding the Star Trek universe. Yet, while Star Trek may be the current priority, the allure of Star Wars remains strong. Why the delay for Star Wars? It's important to understand why Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy has been delayed, particularly at a time when fans are clamoring for new stories beyond the Skywalker saga. For one, Star Wars is at a crossroads. After the mixed reception of the sequel trilogy, Lucasfilm seems to be in a period of recalibration, focusing on Disney Plus shows like The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and the upcoming Ahsoka series, which have been extremely well received. These series have reinvigorated the franchise, providing the deep lore exploration that hardcore fans crave, while still appealing to more casual viewers. It's likely that Lucasfilm wants to ensure that any new Star Wars films are handled with care and given the time they need to be fully realized. Unlike the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which operates on a steady stream of interconnected films, Star Wars has always taken a more deliberate approach to its cinematic releases. The stakes are high for any new film or trilogy, particularly in the aftermath of the polarizing response to The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. In such a context, it's understandable that Lucasfilm would want to wait until all the pieces are in place, especially with a talent like Kinberg at the helm. Moreover, the delay could also be attributed to Kinberg's packed schedule. Between his Star Trek commitments and other projects in development, it's entirely possible that there simply isn't enough time to dive fully into a Star Wars trilogy right now. After all, crafting a new trilogy in such a beloved franchise requires not only creative energy, but also the kind of focus that Kinberg is currently channeling into his Star Trek work. The future of Kinberg's Star Wars. While Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy may be far off, that doesn't mean it's out of the question. Hollywood is rife with long-standing projects that eventually come to fruition. With Kinberg's impressive resume and deep understanding of the Star Wars universe, his trilogy could be the next major milestone in the franchise's evolution when the time is right. For now, though, fans of both Star Wars and Star Trek can rest easy knowing that one of Hollywood's most talented creators is working on expanding two of the most beloved universes in science fiction.